Yet again, I did not take any trades. And honestly, it feels like I'm not even trading anymore. It just feels like I'm just like going on my regular day and just doing nothing with trading. I don't know. It's just a different feeling. If I open this, check my P&L, my account history, my last trade was August 19th. That was, how long was that ago? Let me just check the calendar. That was over 2 weeks ago. That's crazy. And if I don't trade this week, that's almost going to be 3 weeks of not trading. I'm literally showing the charts every single day, but I'm not seeing what I want to see. So I'm just not going to take a trade. And although it sucks because obviously the goal is to trade and make money, but at the end of the day, that's not important. What's important is the process of trading, following my system and following my plan, because I know that's what's going to make me a better trader. I know that's what I need to do to be consistent and be profitable. Hey guys, it's Will. Welcome to the channel. I'm a part-time day trader trying to become a full-time. We are in the first week of September and this is the new week. And today is Thursday. Did not take any trades today. Did not take any trades this whole week. There is one more trading day tomorrow, but we'll see if I take any trades. There's not a lot of opportunities, but I can't just blame the market, because if I don't see what I want to see, then I'm not going to take any trades. Although I could just take a lot of random trades, I'm just going to lose and I'm not following my system. So there's no point in me taking any trades. It's kind of boring to just sit in this computer and just do absolutely nothing and just go throughout my day, because I want to trade. This is what I have to follow. I have to follow my process, and if there's no setups, then I can't take any single trade. August was pretty slow. There was probably like 5 setups, 6 setups, but I only took 3 trading days that month. I'm gonna go to my notebooks, my session recaps. I did also create a Discord community. It's free. You guys can join it. It'll be in the link description box below. There's only one other person in there with me. It's not much, but I'm just trying to build a community where we can just communicate, talk about trading, anything like that. But anyways, I'm gonna break down this week starting from September 2nd, which was the Monday, or actually Monday was Labor Day, so Monday was closed. So it's Tuesday. I have my game plan here, and then I go to a 30-minute chart. What I see from just the bigger time frames, we are in a bearish market. We are breaking down. It looks like we're pretty weak, and also we are under previous day's lows, which is my red dashed lines that I marked on the Nasdaq and also the ES right there. So I'm looking for shorts, but I don't just trade shorts because we're under the previous day's lows. I had to make sure it aligns with my strategy. I have to wait for confirmation, and my strategy is a break and retest. So I could look for the break, and if it retests that level, I could take a short like that. But since there's a pre-market area right here, I want to be cautious about that area. I do have that low marked out on the Nasdaq and the ES, and I'm waiting for a break and retest of that level. But when I go to the 2 minutes, what I see in the morning is that we just break down, and then it just held it. It went straight up, and I couldn't do anything about it. Since it was in this range, I don't trade like that. I like intraday break and retests. Sometimes I could trade like that, but majority of the times I don't trade it like that. I like it when it actually breaks my levels and then it gives me a retest. So my game plan was for this to break on each market. I wanted to retest that level or show rejections, and then it falls back down. I wait for the continuation. I take my trade, and it didn't happen. The market just went straight up, both markets. Later day, the ES does break down, and then it gives you that retest right there, and you can take it for a short. I would have gotten my 3-to-1 right there, but it was hard to trust. This was going down, and then the Nasdaq is just basically getting closer to this demand zone, which can be basically bought back up, and that's exactly what it did. But the ES this time, when it was breaking down, this was where the Nasdaq was, so you could have taken a trade. I didn't take that trade because I was away. I had to work, so I wasn't even in the charts. But I'm not really sure if I would take this trade, to be honest, because it is pretty choppy around this area right here. I just don't know if this low can hold, and I wouldn't really know because I wasn't in my computer. But I'm not sure if I would even take the trade because the Nasdaq is still above this pre-market low area. Showing you guys the 30 minutes now on Wednesday. This was the previous days on Tuesday. I like how we basically broke above in the pre-market, and this could be the retest. So what I'm looking for is a retest into this level right here. Although it is the pre-market, that could be a potential level that I might take it for long. But since I don't really like taking pre-market retests, it's a potential, but I'm not really sure if I wanted to take the trade. I was thinking that I might just take an ES. I might just take the ES if it breaks above the supply zone right here, and this was also rejections or holds above this area. So maybe that could be a trade right there. My other game plan was a false break. So if there's a previous day's highs and a pre-market low, I can look for the market to break back down that level, and it will show weakness. I can wait for the retest and short. And it's also the same on the ES right there. It holds, it breaks back down, and I can take it for a short. But when I go to the 2-minute time frame, it's in the middle of my zones, and I can't really take a trade because there's nothing to take when it's not my setups. It's not following my plan. So again, I did not take any trades. Although the ES did break above here, and you could take it for a long, this right here is not the confirmation that I like seeing. so I did not take the trade. And coming into today, this is Thursday, and my bias was the longs because I like how there was this inverse head and shoulder that was forming in the market right here, and also right here in the bigger time frames is inverse head and shoulder. So I'm pretty bullish in the market, and I have my previous day's levels right here and also the pre-market level right there. It also aligned with the ES, so I was waiting for a break and retest of this level, or if it fills below the previous day's levels, I can take it for a short. When you go to the 30-minute time frame, it looks like I could have made money because that was basically what I was looking for. This was the retest. But if I go to the 2-minute time frame where I trade, this is what I see. Early morning, it goes up, it fails, rejects, and the ES is the same thing. But then you might take it for a short, but it doesn't make sense because we're still in the bullish market. Later day, it breaks above, but it's so choppy that I just don't like taking a trade right there. The ES did break and do the retest, but I still don't like taking a trade like this. And probably I didn't have my level a bit wrong. I probably should have it at the 64.75. And this was the exact high right there. It made more sense if I had the level right there because it does align. That is a failure. And then it does a break and retest. But this right here is not what I like seeing. So I don't take a trade like that. And it's a very slow grind, especially for the upside. This slow grind, I don't really like seeing. Although it would have worked. Let's say I got it around here and gave it my risks like below the level. Let's say 5 points. And then I did target at 3 to 1. Around there, I would have gotten the trade at around like 2 p.m. It's a decent trade around the time when it's actually breaking and retesting. Around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, the Nasdaq was around this area right here. So I just had a feeling that it could just retest this level and then reject it. And then once the Nasdaq is weak, the ES can also just break back down. So I wasn't really interested in the trade. I didn't see anything I liked today, so I did not take any trades. I didn't see anything the past couple days. And last week I didn't see anything, so what can I do if I don't see any trades? And I just gotta stay disciplined. I gotta stick to my strategy. I gotta stick to my system and just be disciplined, you know. We do have Friday tomorrow, so I'll see if I take any trades. If I do, then that'll be great, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna win or lose, so I don't really know. It's a new day, it's Friday. I did take a trade actually, and I will show you guys the live trade. But I first want to show you guys what I thought about today. I'll show you guys my charts and how I got these levels. I'll go to the Nasdaq first and show you guys what I see in my charts. I'm gonna go to the 30-minute time frame, and this is what we have on the previous day right here. Previous day's highs is this green dashed lines. My red dashed line is the previous day's lows, and I have the pre-market high as well. So if I do zoom up further, it is also a rejection level around this area, and I have the 23,800 because it was rejecting it right there. And it was a potential level. My game plan for today was only longs because the market is bullish, and I was only willing to long if it broke the pre-market high. So if I got a break and retest, I'll take it for a long, and then I'll only short it if it breaks down this previous day's highs. It gives you a false break, and I can short it from there. I was also thinking that I could do pullback longs into the previous day's highs, but I normally don't like taking like that, and it really depends on how the chart's looking. And then I go to the ES, but the ES is a bit different. It's because the all-time highs is right here, and we actually are above all-time highs in the pre-market. So that means we're pretty bullish, but it did have this pre-market high right there, and I was thinking that if it did break above, I can do a break and retest above that level. And there is so many levels here. There's this all-time highs right there, and then there's this previous day's highs right there, and then there's this 6,500 level that could be a potential spot, and is also a big figure level, so maybe that could be a spot as well. And then I would only short if it broke this level right here, but it's too close that I'll just take the Nasdaq instead if we broke the previous day's highs. The market opened, and we just got stuck above this pre-market high, and we just kept failing. That same thing happened on the ES, and I don't like taking trades like that because that's like a supply rejection. We're still currently are bullish, so I don't really want to short it. And although it looked really good, that's just not my strategy. I've done that in the past, but I just normally don't like it. Although it looked A+, if I'm just looking at the chart, it looks A+, but that's not following my system, so I didn't take the trade. After this failure, I was not expecting a trade because I don't really like taking these pullback longs. And although it could work, I'm not really that confident in the trade, but you never know. Maybe I did take it if it was actually showing some strength. It did break down this level right here, and that was a level that I was thinking of shorting. If we go back to the 1 hour chart or 30-minute chart on the Nasdaq, I'll show you guys why this level might be a potential level. This 23,800 was a rejection right there, and then it was also a rejection right there, and it had a lot of influence. So I was thinking that I could short that level, but it's only because we were above the previous high, so I was debating if I want to short that level. I was thinking of shorting that play, But as you see, it just broke down. It gave you like one retest, two retests, and it was just too, it was just too aggressive that I just didn't want to take it, although it worked. I wish there was more of a pullback, like it broke down more and then later it retested again. It showed more failures, but it just went straight down. This is just too aggressive. It just went straight down. There was no like retracement. That's why I didn't want to take it. After the market was just going straight down, I was like, okay, the Nasdaq is not giving me anything, so I can't take that. Let's look over to the ES now. The market was just breaking down and I can't really do anything about it because there's no retest and ES was just breaking down. But then I had the 6,500 level right here that I was thinking that I could still take, because around this time, if I look over here, it's around 1020. And then when I look at the Nasdaq, although it's getting close to previous day's highs, it's still not like retesting the level. It still like needs room. And it's just so close that I felt like I couldn't take the trade right here. Like this is the retest, but I couldn't take the trade because it's still going straight down. I wanted to retrace a bit more so I can get more confident in the trade. Although this did work, is that if I did risk that amount, like let's say I got in here and then I risked the wick high right there, that's like 8 points. 8 points is just too much of a big risk. Like I wouldn't want to risk that much. Although it did work, but if I target at 3 to 1, it's just breaking this demand zone and that's just too aggressive. It's like breaking my zone. I gotta respect my zone, so I just can't take that. And there's just too much risk that I didn't want to take the trade anyways. This is what the A+ setup that I wanted to happen. Like if it broke this previous day's highs, that would be a false break and I would get the retest and I can short it. And this is the trade I actually took on the Nasdaq. This was not literally the proper retest that I was getting, and during that time, that retest was right when the ES was getting close to this demand zone, and that's why I was skeptical of taking it, but I actually did take it. And then once I was in the trade, I started seeing wicks over here, and then I knew that I didn't really get a good retest. My retest wasn't that proper. I didn't get the retracement, and then I just sold out for a break even. I did win a little profit, but I don't really count that as winning. It's just a break even trade. Although it did work very nicely, I just can't trust this. I could have accepted the trade, and if I lost, I lost. But I knew that if I lost the trade, I would have been more mad at myself because I knew that this retest wasn't the retest that I normally like taking. And that's why I just got off the trade. Then later, when the Nasdaq was breaking down more, I'm like, there still could be a trade because I look at the ES now, and now it's rejecting this zone right here. It's rejecting this zone that I had, and I can get that for a short. But if I look at the ES, and this is my level, the 64.75, it broke down and it gave you that retest, which was this only one candle. It broke down again. It gave me this retest right there. And I almost was about to get in that trade, but I kind of hesitated a bit because my 3 to 1 will be right below the previous day's lows. Since it was right below the previous day's lows, I was thinking that that might be pushing it too much. I was thinking that it's just too much of a downside that it might not just even work. And that's good I didn't take the trade, because if I put my stop loss right there, I would have got stopped out right there. The trade that I didn't get from earlier, this was a break and retest. Since it was too aggressive, there was no retracement. That's why I didn't get in the trade, but it did work. If I kept that mentality, like, oh, it's gonna work, and I don't really need a retracement. But if I did take the trade right here, although it's almost the same thing because it's still retesting and rejected right away, I would have lost the trade because it did retrace, and this was a pullback that it needed. And if I did get in that trade, I would have lost. But if I just actually stick to my system, I know that I wanted to see exactly what I want to see to get into my trade. So this was not enough. That's why I didn't get in the trade, and it worked. This was not enough as well, but I was so close to getting that trade, and if I did, I would have lost the trade. And that's why I had to stick to my system, because I know this is not enough. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I know most of the time it's gonna fake me out because this is not a retracement. It's not enough. It's just going straight down. There's no retracement right here. This right here is going straight down. That's why I need a retracement, and that worked, but I need to see more. This right here was still a straight down. That's why I got in a trade, but I knew that I didn't really see the retest that I wanted it to. And then the ES was around the demand zone, and it was just too much like questionable things that I was doing, and I just wanted to get out because I didn't like the trade. So I rather just take my stop loss, or like just take my break even trade and just run with it because I'm just not confident in the trade. I don't care if it worked. It sucks that it does work, but I had to follow my system, so I just got out because I don't want to deal with anything. I would have been more mad because I wasn't confident in the trade and it wasn't really following my system. It didn't really give me that proper retest, so I just had to get out right away. A lot of times I stayed in the trade because I was like, I'm already up a little bit, might as well just stay in the trade. But then it loses and I'm like, damn, why did I take the trade? But then I stayed in the trade because I think I can win. It doesn't matter what I think, it's because it matters about what the chart is showing you at that current time. I was thinking of still getting this trade, but I knew that I needed more retracement, and this was basically the retracement that I needed. Since the market was still weak, because this is basically just going straight down, it needs to retrace back, and I know that it can go down more, and that the ES has to do the same thing. And this wick high was maybe the level that I needed to have. If I got the trade right here, it could have worked, but it was questionable because I was like, maybe this low day could have brought the market up. So I didn't really want to enter the trade. And I'm like, I should just go this workout and just not even care about it because I missed the trade. I didn't miss the trade, but there was nothing really A plus for me to take. So I just didn't take any trades. If I pull out my broker, I'm up $8, but it's a break-even trade. So it's not really a W for this week. It's just a break-even trade. And that is the end of the week. And what I like to say is how you do one thing is how you do everything. Keep staying disciplined, keep staying consistent, and let's just get 1% better every day. And I'll see you in the next one.